Joining me today is Olivia Beirne, author, storyteller, and a voice you'll definitely want to hear. Her writing connects deeply with readers, blending emotion, insight, and unforgettable characters. We're talking about her journey as an author, what inspires her work, and the stories behind the stories. So stay tuned. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please make sure to hit subscribe, like, or share with your family members, colleagues, or friends. Tune in, listen to Olivia's story. It's a great one. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Hi, Olivia. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. How's your day been?
Yeah, it's been fine. It's absolutely freezing today, and
Oh,
it was last night. So I've been under a heated blanket almost all day. But yeah,
brilliant.
otherwise, yeah, it's been good. Good, thank
Yeah.
you.
It's definitely dropped, hasn't it, in the UK? Because when I took my girls to nursery this morning, it was like 0 degrees.
Yeah,
And
freezing.
we haven't had snow yet. Have you had snow?
We had snow yesterday, and I've got a 7-month-old, so this is the first time she's ever seen it. And I was so excited, holding her to the window, thinking of this magical moment, and she couldn't have given less of a shit. But I was
Like,
excited.
no, just look the same to me. It's
Yeah,
when they get to go outside and then they want to play with it.
yeah,
But you
next
never
year
know. We could have a white Christmas, but
that would
I
be quite
don't know. It
cool.
needs to get a bit colder.
Yeah, yeah, it's chilly here.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm very excited to have you. I'm going to pass it over to you for a moment. Do you want to give yourself a quick intro?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Olivia Beirne, and I've just written a novel under Emily Maple as well. I write women's fiction and rom-com. I'm an international bestseller, and my books have been published in the UK and then all over the world, really.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Lovely. And I want to talk about that today, about how you've just been published under a different name, because I think
Mm.
that's really interesting and I'd love to understand why. But as always, as the listeners know, I always like to take it back to the beginning and understand when your writing journey started.
Yeah, sure. So I without giving you too much of a boilerplate answer, like every writer, I did want to write forever.
Yeah.
Um, and then I fell out of love with English when I went to secondary school and started a elaborate affair with drama instead, and parked the idea of wanting to be an author because I suddenly was obsessed with the idea of being a musical theatre star, even though I didn't have the talent for that. But for 14-year-olds, you don't. That doesn't matter, does it? Um,
No.
and then I spent a year at drama school and really liked it. But within sort of 5 minutes of being there, when I had an acting tutor say, that not in this way, but that wasn't that good, I would think stuff, yeah, no, I know it wasn't, was it? Like, I'm not actually very good at this. Um, and then I went to uni and did drama. And then for my dissertation, we had the opportunity to write a play and then write an essay alongside of it. So I chose that, and it was the most fun I'd had throughout my whole course. I loved doing it. I spent so much time on it. And when I handed it in, I suddenly was like, oh, I'm not going to have to write anymore. Like, I'll probably go into like a job and where that's quite sad. And I'd had an idea for a book. Um, and I suddenly was like, well, why don't I just write it? Like, I love reading. I'll just see what happens. Um, and I told a few people, but I was very coy about it because if something felt a bit embarrassing about telling people that I was writing a book, I think I felt a bit childish or self-indulgent. I don't know. But I wrote a book about a girl going to university, so very
Yeah.
original. And once I'd finished it, I was 22, and I was like, right, I want to get it published now. I want the next step. So there wasn't that much out there that I could find anyway in terms of information about how you went and did that.
Mm.
Like Instagram had only just started then. And so I would read the back of books, the acknowledgements, to try and find anything to tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
The only thing I picked up on is that a lot of authors were journalists. So a part of me was like, do I have to be a journalist in order to be an author? um, but I bought the artists and writers yearbook, if
Yeah.
that yeah, and went through it and went through every agent and emailed every agent I could find. I didn't know what unsolicited meant for ages, so every
Yeah.
time it kept saying that, I was like, "Is that me or no?" I had to Google it, um, and then eventually I sent it to Sarah Manning, as she was now. She's Sarah Hornsley now. She's married. And she asked for the full MS request. And then she came back and basically said, no, it's not good enough, hasn't got good enough plot. But she said, I think you're really talented. I really like your writing. So, send me something else. And
Mhm.
that's all that was a year after submission. So that was a long
Okay.
time for that to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And that was all I needed to sort of give me some fire, that someone had given me like a glimmer of hope.
Mhm.
Um, so then I made a mistake in that I had another idea for a book and I wrote the whole thing in 6 weeks. Uh,
Wow.
I wrote every Sunday and I'd write the minimum of 10,000 words because I had in my head, I thought, if I write this really fast, she'll be so impressed with me that she'll sign me. Without thinking that actually, no, you need to write something really good in order to get signed.
Yeah.
So anyway, sent it to her again. And again, she came back and said, no, but write something else. Um, and by this point, I was working in casting,
Mhm.
which was really fun. I loved it, but it was really intense. Worked almost every weekend, worked most evenings, and I was struggling and then writing whenever I could.
Mm.
And I was 24, 25 at this point, and I said to myself, I need to spend some time. I haven't got a mortgage. I don't have a kid. I'm not married. This is the one point in my life where I have no financial commitments.
Mm.
If I can spend some time giving everything to writing, then at least I can look back and say I gave it everything.
Yeah.
But I couldn't quit my job and just write for a year because I was like, I don't think that doesn't feel productive enough to me.
Mhm.
I wasn't brave enough to do that, basically. So I applied for a master's in publishing at UCL because again, another mistake I made. I thought that by doing that course, I'd learn all the secrets and learn what people actually need to be an author, um,
Yeah.
which isn't true. You learn about the publishing industry, so it's really interesting, but didn't learn anything about that. And I moved to London, was flat broke, doing my master's, doing freelance bits and bobs, and had my idea for This Changed My Life. Started writing it, was able to spend so much time writing it because I was only in uni twice a week, and
Mhm.
then doing freelance work, which a lot of the time was from home or a couple of hours here and there. Um, and yeah, and then I finished it, left it alone for a month, which took a lot of willpower, and then edited it, sent it to Sarah on a Thursday. So at that point, I was like, I only want her. She's the only agent that I
Yeah.
want. Um, so sent it to her on the Thursday. Um, and then she emailed me. I literally got in the shower in the morning and said to myself, don't think about this anymore because she might take 6 months to reply to you. Came out of the shower and she'd emailed me, asked me for the full
Oh,
amount.
wow.
I nearly died on the spot. Emailed it to her. And then she had offered me representation on the Monday. This in
Amazing.
yeah, this in Jan, and then by March, my book went into auction, and then got a deal with Headline, and then yeah, and that was 7 years ago now. So yeah,
Did she say to you what, like, on this occasion, why she was like, "Yes, this is the book. This is what I wanted to see."
yeah. She'd always said to me that she was like, "Your voice is really good, your character's really good. You don't have any plot," which was true. Plot is the
Yeah.
thing that I am the worst at.
Yeah.
And my first one about a girl going to uni was essentially just like I don't know, almost like written in a diary format and just her doing things like getting pissed and getting off with
Yeah.
somebody. And so not really that much happened. And then my
Yeah.
second one was so high concept that actually the plot wasn't realistic in any way.
Yes.
So whereas this one, I really worked hard to give it a real plot because she also recommended to me actually after reading and rejecting my second novel, she said, why don't you buy and read Save the Cat? It's a book about plotting, which you might find useful.
Yeah.
And I did, and I studied it loads. And then I just started watching loads of films, reading loads of books, and trying to put them in that format to work
Yeah.
out all worked.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so by the time Illicit Changed My Life came about, I had it plotted to a T. So by that point, that was what she said it was missing. So when she offered it to me, she was like, "Yeah, you've now got this bit too." So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I owe a lot to
Amazing.
her.
Yeah, it was good. She's obviously seen something in you and was like, "Oh, I know you can do it." Like,
Yeah.
and then that third attempt, like, she must have thought it was wow to reply that quickly to you.
Oh, she's the best. I appreciate her so much, and she has this weird, like psychic thing with me where she just knows how far she can push me. And
Yeah.
often I'll send her something and be like, "It's everything I can possibly give you. It's done." Um, and then she'll come back and be like, you need to do this. Um, and I don't think I can do it. And then I can. And then I think it's so much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then I always want to apply to being like, I don't know how you knew it could get better than that because I didn't think it could. So yeah, she's the best.
Oh, amazing. So you got obviously, did you get a publishing deal for one book or was it straight to a two book?
Too. So
Two.
the listen and that yeah, that was a fun thing that I didn't know about publishing because I the listen changed my life on a submission, and Sarah said, "We need a book two idea to submit with it." And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've spent ages on this one." So I kind of just threw something at her that I had in the back of my mind, and then like very quickly after, I then obviously had to start working on that.
Yeah.
And then the deadlines were much tighter than I'd ever done before because I'd never been a contract before. So it was such a learning
Yeah.
curve of like the speed to do it because they want it to be a book a year. So that book
Yeah.
in my first one came out in 2019 and my second one came out in 2020. So and like I had such second album syndrome where I had real writer's block and
Yeah.
trying to like get through it and get it done. And also with all the weird feelings I got anyway, I don't know, others felt the same as me, but the weird feelings I got about a debut coming out and like suddenly getting loads of reviews and getting
Yeah.
published in places and trying to replicate it without doing a copy and paste of your first book. And yeah, it was a real like a real, and that's what I think a lot. I think if someone says they spent like 15 years working on a book, I think, well, if you're writing commercial fiction, be careful because if you get a two book deal, they're going to want it really quick and they might not give you
Yeah.
15 years to do the second one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a real learning curve for me.
Yeah. And how did you get treated then? So once you got the publishing deal and the book was going to be debuted, what did it look like for you in terms of like marketing? Like, did you go around and do a bit of a tour, like in different bookstores, like of the UK? What did it kind of look like in that terms?
Well, it was pre-COVID, so it was a bit
Um,
different. I
yeah,
didn't do loads. I did two literary festivals.
yeah,
And I've forgotten where they both were now, but one was Ipswich way, and I was
yeah,
really lucky because I was on a panel with Daisy Buchanan and Beth O'Leary,
yeah.
um,
Wow.
who are both so nice.
Yeah,
And I, but it was a really weird. I actually spent the whole day with Daisy because we got on the train together and we had the same
yeah,
publisher, so she put us in touch. And I met Beth later on in the day.
yeah,
So I had a really big chat with Daisy, which was really nice, and because I was so nervous. And then the event itself was it was great, but it was it was really scary. It was really good. And then I did another one um up north. I can't remember where it was, but somewhere up north. And then, but that was kind of it. I went to my local Waterstones.
yeah,
I went to a local indie bookshop. I went to a local secondary school and chatted to
yeah.
their students about it. Not that they're my readership at all. I had to be quite clear about that, of being like, some of them were like 14, and I was like, it's a bit rude for you, but maybe your mum will like it. um, but yeah, and then that was kind of it. They did things like online ads for me, and I was quite lucky. I got quite a lot of publicity for my first one. I actually been quite lucky with all of them. That the
Yeah,
yeah, I've like it was in Women's Weekly, Women and Home. I can't remember what else it was in now. Um, so yeah, and then things like social media and
yeah,
stuff as
yeah.
well.
Amazing. So what made did you instantly think, I want to be traditionally published? Is that kind of, because speaking to like several different authors, some are straight in their mind, yep, I want to be traditionally published. Others have started off indie and then been picked up by a traditional publisher. Did you in your mind just think that's the route that I want to go down? Didn't even consider like doing it yourself?
So I didn't know anything about indie publishing. And I think because when I was working in casting, I was working as a talent agent. So I was working as an
Yeah,
agent, but on a different industry.
yeah,
So I really saw the value of agents because I was one. And so I really wanted a literary agent. And I felt I
yeah.
really needed one because I also felt that I knew so little about the publishing industry.
Mm,
Really needed that guidance. Especially if I'd have self-published my first book, um, God, like, I'm so glad that that never saw the light of day, like, on reflection.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so I really needed all that, and I still need it. So I've got some of my really good friends, indie published, and their books do really well, and they're really
yeah.
good. Um, but I see the amount of work they have to put in to get there. Um, and I just don't think that I have that in me to do that at the moment. I might change my mind later in life, but
Yeah.
I quite enjoy being traditionally published at the moment.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know a huge deal about the indie public, and I didn't even know it
Yeah.
existed when I was like 21.
Yeah, and I think the indie publishing, like you said, I mean, it's a little bit easier to navigate now, I think, because it's evolved so much and there's more people and you can get a lot of advice. But yeah, previously, like just to even set it up, like it's a big lift. Like it takes a lot of time. You've got to pay the money up front, so you've got to have
Yeah,
obviously enough money to invest in yourself and things like that. So I think from that standpoint, but I do think it's great. Like you said, some people prefer to do indie because they're in more control and
yeah,
they market themselves really well and you know, they get all the profits, etc. But then there's so many people out there that want to go traditional. Because like you said, if you go indie, you've got to find a really good editor. And
yeah.
sometimes you put so much trust in the editor that they might fail on you, but you don't know because you don't really know kind of what looks good and what doesn't look good. So I think from your side going traditional, it's so beneficial because like you said, if Sarah hadn't said no and then no again and then finally yes,
Yeah.
you may have like you may have not pushed yourself to the point of where what you needed to get to, and then
I
you may
just
have just writing the way you did from the first book.
Yeah, and I just had no idea what direction I was supposed to be going, and I was
Yeah,
desperate for guidance of thinking like, what am I doing wrong? Like, how am
yeah,
I? So if I hadn't had Sarah being like, your issue is this is how you can try and fix it, and that's the feedback I get from editors whenever I have a book deal. Is the first edit, they'll always come back with a huge letter and saying, this is what you need to work on. But by the time I've given them the book, I've made it the best I can. So I need someone else's multiple people's input. Um,
yeah,
I think it's so admirable people who indie publish and who are able to do that.
yeah.
But I don't think I could. Not at the moment anyway. I might change my mind later
No.
on in life, but right now I don't think I could.
Yeah. And so what does it look like? Because you've had 4, is it have you just released you've got your 5th one coming out under a different name, right?
Yeah, my Emily Maple one came out in August, so it's just come
Yes.
out.
So, in terms of before we go into kind of Emily Maple one, the
Mhm.
4 that you had, so what did that look like? You got a 2 book deal, and then did you have to like go through submissions again, or once you released your 2, they kind
Yeah,
of gave you another book
so
deal?
it was a really interesting time because the Accidental Love Letter, which was my second book in my first book deal, so book two,
Yeah.
that was due to come out April 2020, and Sarah was on maternity leave. And while she was off, she said, well, she'd already approved my idea for the book I was going to submit as another book deal. And she said, just go and write it. And when I come back from mat leave, we'll go from there. Because she was due on mat leave. She said, I'm going to come back in June. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then obviously the world shut down and
Yes.
I was made furlough from the day job I was doing. And I
Yeah.
was, well, I have to write in this time. But it was really, I found it really difficult because I had a lot of shit going on in COVID. So I found, as everybody
Yeah.
did, COVID wasn't the most creative time for me to
Yeah.
write.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing I found is that all I wanted in COVID, because I was reading loads of books, but I was like, I need a book that's gonna just make me feel better, just give me a hug. That's all I want. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna write a book like that. So I wrote House Swap with the goal that I was like, you can read the blurb and think, I know what's gonna happen at the end,
Yeah.
and you'll be right. So there'll be things that happen that you don't expect, twists and turns,
Yeah.
but we will get from A to B because for some people, like me at that time, I needed that comfort where I needed to feel like everything was okay. I think because at
Yeah.
that time, no one knew things were going to be okay. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I was writing it and I think I was about 10,000 words off and it was like May the 29th or something. And I was like, Sarah will come back end of June. It'll be fine. And then 1st of June, she was like, I'm back. Where is it? And I was like, fuck. So I finished it, sent it to her. Yeah, then it went out on submission. But because the Accidental Love Letter came out in like peak COVID, April COVID, um, nothing was open. So it was couldn't do any promo, like
Yeah.
solely relying on social media, like just so I was really like I was like, well, they're not gonna give me another deal because
Yeah.
like this has come out in COVID. Um and then it went out a submission on in the September to headline because it always goes out to them first because they have
Yeah.
my previous deal. And I said to myself, I'm just leaving it up to the universe. And if they offer me a deal, they offer it to me. And if they don't, then I will take that as a sign that I need to take a break and regroup.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and they offered me another two book deal. So
Amazing.
yeah, so then that's where House Swap, which is my happy book,
Yeah.
and then Three Nights in Italy, that was my book three and book four for my Olivia books.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And so what made you now write under a different name?
So I was speaking to my editor about it, and we came up with this idea about the two people meeting on Halloween and then getting separated. And it's a slightly different genre to my Olivia one. So my Olivia books are women's fiction. There's a romance element in all of them, but
Mhm.
it's only like I'd say sort of 80% of the book is about women and about their
Yeah.
relationship, and then 20% is about the romance that's happening.
Mhm.
Um, Whereas Falling for You is about is a rom-com, is a romance. So it was a name change because of that, because it's
Yeah.
a different genre. Um, yeah, but it's not to say that I will definitely do another Olivia book,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping to do another Emily book, but they're just different.
Genres. Yeah.
Yeah, different genres really, which is quite confusing. I think that some people don't really understand it, but I think if you picked up one of my Olivia books hoping for a straight rom-com, you wouldn't get that. And equally, if you picked up
Yeah.
my Emily book hoping for a straight women's fiction, you wouldn't get that there either. So
Yeah.
they are different.
Yeah. What made you come up with the name?
Well, Emily Maple, that
Yeah.
was with my publisher. So they helped me brainstorm names.
Oh,
They gave me a couple of first names to think about. And one of them was Aurelia, which I love, but I can't spell. So I was like,
is it
if
AU?
anyone write
Is
it,
that
yeah,
or AU?
Aurelia, I think. But
Yeah.
you would just see me every time someone asked me to sign something, I'd be going, eh, yeah, and they'd be like, this girl is so stupid. So I was like, Emily, I can definitely spell. So let's do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant. And with that one then, have you got another book coming out? I mean, that's just been released obviously in August, so you don't
Mhm.
want to say you're going to have one straight away, but is that part of a two book deal as well?
It was only a one book deal.
Okay,
So let's see. I don't know. I'm on
let's see.
maternity leave at the moment, so it's kind of eh, I'm spinning a few plates basically, and I
Yeah.
have no idea which one's going to land. Maybe they'll all land, maybe none. I've got no idea. But
Are you writing at the moment?
yeah, I'm I'm kind of writing. I set myself a really unhealthy goal when I was going on maternity leave that I would get a book deal whilst on mat leave, which is stupid because I have a baby. So um, I have written loads of things and sent them to Sarah, and they're all in different stages. So
Yeah.
I have no idea which ones are gonna take off, which ones aren't, which ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I who knows? Who
Who
knows?
knows? So inspiration then, because obviously, has your inspiration changed since you've had a child compared to the previous inspiration, or do you find inspiration from anything?
I have a what if brain, which is a blessing and a curse. But it means that I get the majority of my ideas from speaking to people. And I love it when a friend's telling me a story and then they're like, and then this happened. And then we always go, oh my God, can you imagine if this happened? And then
Yeah.
go down that route. And that's where I get a lot of my ideas from, the idea of what if that had happened instead, and then where would that go? Like the accidental love letter, the idea from that came from when I was in my last year of uni. I was living with friends in a house share, and we got a letter through the door because obviously it was a rented house, as all uni students do. And the letter was addressed to someone who used to live there, and it had a Playboy bunny on the front of it. And we were obsessed with what this was. Um, and I was obsessed with the idea of like, what if this, like, what's in it? Why is there a Playboy bunny on the front?
Yeah.
Is this guy going to come and collect it? Who's he going to be? Anyway, we eventually opened it and it was really boring and nothing. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't interesting at all. But that stayed with me for ages of thinking, well, yeah, you're in rented accommodation. That means that loads of people have said that their address is your address over the years.
Yeah.
What if someone sent a letter there thinking that someone used to live there? And
Yeah.
then what if somebody opened it? And then what if someone wrote back and catfished them? Then like what? So that's where that idea came from. So
Yeah.
I've got a whole list on my phone of things like that, just like one-liners of being like, what if this happened, then this happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of it comes from there. I've got
Yeah.
in House Swap, one of the main characters is pregnant in it.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had any children when I wrote it, but my best friend was pregnant and I wrote it
Mhm.
in COVID when all we could do was walk. And she was
Yeah.
pregnant at the time. So we would walk almost every day. And I would just be like, what can you tell me about being pregnant? And he just told me everything, to the extent I've had people say to me, like, I can't believe you haven't had a baby and you wrote that. And I was like, yeah, she's literally told me every detail of it. Uh, so yeah, so I don't know whether I'd write something about a mum at some point. I probably
Yeah.
will at some
Yeah.
point. Um, but and there's kids in a couple of my books. Um, is that what I like about that? No, but yeah,
Yeah, because it's true, isn't it? Because, like, I think it's easy to write about the things that you've done or you've been involved in, um, or like have people close to you that you can go and talk to. Because otherwise, you have to go and do a lot of research, right? Of like, oh, I've
yeah,
got to go and visit that place, or I've got to go and do that. And I know that a lot of authors do that, but it does take time,
mm,
and it can be hard work, especially when you've got other things that you're doing in your life as well. So I think, yeah, it's good to focus on what you can write about around you, and then maybe one day you might think, oh, I'm going to go overseas for a bit and say I've got to do an author trip for research.
yeah. Beauts love would love that.
So in terms of like challenges that you've faced with being like from a writer to an author,
Mm.
what are some of those obstacles that you've had to overcome?
I think in order to be an author, you have to have so many hats and so many different parts of your personality, which don't always come naturally to me. So
Mm.
you have to be creative, obviously, to write it, but then you also have to have so much willpower to keep going and writing it. And then the resilience of the rejections from the
Yeah.
agents and or when you go on submission,
Mm.
or both. Um, and then you have to be able to work to deadlines. And then the book comes out, and then you have to be able to do the social media side of it.
Mm.
And then you have to be able to be thick skin enough to deal with reviews or it not selling how you wanted it to.
Yeah.
Um, and then you've got to be able to do it again immediately in order to jump back on the wagon and
Yeah.
start the process again. So it's quite I found it quite a lot sometimes to keep going. And sometimes it gets to the point where I don't have it depends what mood I'm in because like with House Swap and with Three Nights in Italy, I was really fired up. So I did
Mhm.
loads for it. I did so much social media. I did everything I could. I even befriended a Waterstones bookseller for House Swap and, spoke to him about getting my books in those of the stores he looked after. Like I did so much to try and do it. Um, but then when Falling for You came around, I was on maternity leave, got a baby, sleep deprived, brain only
Mm.
half working. And every time I went to go post a social media post, I was a bit like, I can't really think of anything to talk about.
Yeah.
So I posted everything I could. I did everything I could from a marketing point of view that I could think of. But those are some bits that I do find hard. I also don't love social media. I would
Yeah.
stay away from it if I could.
Yeah.
Um, although it is great to meet authors and all
Yeah.
of but that's probably the hardest bit that I find. And then earlier on in my career, the reviews I used to really
Yeah.
struggle with as well.
Yeah. I was going to say, how do you overcome that? Because it can be quite toxic, can't it? But I think you have to just think, well, maybe it's not the genre for them, or maybe I'm not the author for them. And yeah, but how did you overcome that? I mean, you're obviously in a better place now, but it's got to take a hit, right? If you're getting
Yeah.
some negative reviews.
So when I first when the list that changed my life came out, I was obsessed with reviews, only Amazon reviews. I've never read Goodreads because I've sort of taken it as like a personal challenge to never go on it. And I've
Yeah.
heard it's quite a scary place to go. It's a place for readers, not for authors.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I don't go on there. But Amazon I do. And I used to obsessively check it. Sometimes multiple times a day, and I'd read all of them. And it wouldn't matter if somebody left me a 5-star this is the best book I've ever read book, or a 1 star, this is the worst book I've ever read book, I'd have the same reaction of having a huge shot of adrenaline, start feeling quite panicky about it, 'cause it made me go, "Oh my God, ah," and then I would kind of then be really sort of scratchy until for the rest of the day, and I feel really
Yeah.
weird. Um, because it felt the way I used to describe it to people is like, it's like you're walking along the street and then someone comes up to you that you don't know and is like, "This is what I think of everything I can see here," and you have to stand there and be like, "Okay," and then keep walking. So it's
Yeah.
I found it really hard, but then I also sought them. I didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Um, but then as time's gone on, I'm much more thick skin about it now, and I have the mindset of that not everybody likes everything. Books are
Yeah.
subjective, and like what really helps that I've got a lot of author friends, and we talk about books all the time, and
Yeah.
they say to me like, "Oh, I read this book, I loved it, it was so good," and then I read it and I think, "Oh, I didn't really hit for me,"
Yeah.
um, and so it just shows that it's not a reflection on the book as such, it's the person's taste, which is absolutely fine and
Yeah.
valid. And really as well, none of my business. It shouldn't like it's none of my business what you think of my book. If you want to hate it, that's up to you. You know, that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I try not to look as much anymore. One of my favorite reviews I've ever got, which is a really good reminder for me, was for my first book, and it was a 3 star review, and someone just put, "Well, dot dot dot, it's not Chekhov." And that's pretty much all they said. But I loved it because I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It's not. This is meant to be like a fun, like
Yeah.
easygoing book." So it was like a good reminder for me to be like, "Yeah, of course. Like it like don't forget what you're trying to do. So not everyone will
Yeah.
like it. Not everybody will want that." Um, so yeah. So, but
Yeah. And yeah,
mm,
it is funny what you hear some people write, and I've spoken to many authors now about reviews and things, and like I think yeah, you get thicker skin the more you publish, the more you just look at them, and some people laugh and kind of be like, oh well, that's their opinion, and I think you just have to wear off that maybe you're not the right reader for me, and you know if I were reading in my books now that you've read, but hey, there's plenty of other people out there that are reading them, and they're the type of readers that I want, right? Because
yeah,
they're going to recommend me. They're going to buy my other books. And you probably start to have a bit more of a following as well.
yeah, and I'm really lucky that a good thing about social media is that I do get to connect with readers, and
Yeah,
it's so rare. It's only happened to me once that I've had someone, um, like, tag me in a bad review.
yeah,
So, like, 99.9% of people who are contacting me are people saying nice things about it, which is so nice
yeah, yeah,
and just so, um, motivating. Um,
yes,
so, yeah, it is really nice. I really
yeah,
appreciate every review, I see, and when I see negative ones, I'm a bit like, "Yeah, that's fine, yeah."
yeah. I shared this with another author on one of the episodes that I have like since launching this podcast. I mean, I've had nothing but like amazing response, and I just love getting to know all the authors out there and spreading more of who they are, and if I can encourage more people to read their books, then more the merrier, right? I can remember when I put like a post up once. I think it must have been a bot, or maybe it was someone who just, it was grumpy for the day. But they were like, "No one reads books anymore," and I'm like, "Well, maybe you don't read books, but there's plenty of other people that read books." Like, it's just like, what a silly comment.
Yeah.
Like,
That let's say that was a bot, that was really weird. I actually
yeah,
shared a reel this morning from RuPaul basically being like, "Go read a book." So if he's saying it, then it's
yeah,
valid.
I know, I know, and we should encourage it. I know there's I don't know. Oh, I don't want to say this because I can't really remember much about it. But there's, I think, I don't even know if it's Radio 2, but they're doing like, let's encourage more people to start reading and continue reading, which I think is phenomenal because I love reading.
Me too.
Um, and my son's at an age now that he reads in school and he loves it. Like he will read a book in like, I mean, they're not really big books, but they're still like good size. And he'll read one of those in like 2 nights because he just
I love that.
loves it. And I was like, yes, he gets that from me. And you kind of like keep reading because I'd rather you read a book than. So I think I'm going to put like a bit of a reading corner in his room. like a
That's
little
so
chair, and then like have his bookcase there of his books. Because currently we just go to the library quite a lot, and then he's like, I need another book, and we're like, okay, well let's get you 5 at a time now, and then you can read
yeah,
those, and then we'll go, we'll put them back and have some more. Um,
that's so
but yeah,
good.
I would love him to start getting authors that he loves, and then building up a bit of a, you know,
Yeah,
um,
and
a
a
love
lot of
for
people
them.
don't know as well, but authors get paid when you take their book out of the library too. So,
Yes, I found that out recently, which
mm,
I think is really good.
it's great. So, I
Yeah,
occasionally have people say to me like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't buy it. I took it out of the library." And I'm like, first of all, authors love libraries, so
yeah,
and we want them to stay open. So there is
yes,
nobody will ever have an issue with you taking a book out of a library, but also we get paid for it. So it's like a
yeah.
double treat.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I haven't been to a library. Well, I've been to our local library with my children, but I think again, but they're making like certain. I don't know. It's more appealing, and
Mm.
people want to go and hang out there a bit more.
Yeah, I got our libraries, our local libraries are brilliant. So yeah.
Yeah.
Eh,
Oh, so question then, because you
mm,
mentioned that you met Beth Leary once, and obviously she's been phenomenal in her books being adapted, hasn't she? In terms
yeah.
of like, I think most of them have been TV series. There may have been one or two movies. I think I've watched most of them. I haven't watched The Road Trip yet, but if you could have any of your books converted or adapted into a TV series or movie, have you chosen which one you would love it to happen to?
Um, so I don't really think about this loads when I'm writing. I'm not one of those authors who is writing with an actor in mind. It's
Yeah.
only in Three Nights in Italy did I kind of have more of a filmic, is that what? But like that idea in my head,
Mm.
because I really picture one of the main characters in it is woman called Aunt Fanny, who is um really glamorous, really intrusive, quite annoying, quite rude, but really great.
Yeah.
And I always had Nicolette Sheridan in my head as I was writing it.
Yeah.
She's Edie in Desperate Housewives. Don't know if you've ever
Yes.
seen that show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Desperate Housewives.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, me too. So that's the only one because I pictured her so much throughout it, of
Yeah.
being, yeah, this is who you'd have it. But yeah, I would be if it ever happened, I would be so interested to see what they would do to it, how they would do it, because all my books are written in the first person as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it would yeah, I'd be really interested how you would convey that to
Yeah.
the screen. Um but yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was speaking, you may have listened to it or not, but I was speaking to Sophie Cousins about when her book got adapted into the movie this time next year. And she said a lot changed, obviously. And I've read the book and I've watched the movie, and you can tell. But she was like, how can you get a whole book into a movie? It would be so
Yeah.
long. So you have to cut it. And also you have to listen to like the producer and the director,
Yeah.
where they want to go with it. But it keeps like the main framework of it and incorporates a lot of the main points, but it is slightly different to the book.
Yeah, it's a totally different art form, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it is going to be a very different experience to the book, and
Yeah.
I I pretty much always prefer the book than the film or the TV
I
series.
know. Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, who knows what will happen one day? But it's not when I write them. I'm very much in my head that they're a book, so I'm not really
Yes.
thinking about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but who knows?
Yeah, I'm with you. I find it difficult if I've read a book to then watch something because I have created those people in my mind. And
Hmm.
so if I have a perception of someone and then it's different, I'm like, oh, now it's changed like what's in my mind. And now I've got this blurred character.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. Um so you, in terms of like community and continuation of kind of developing and honing your skills, what do you do? Like, who, like, are you connected with a certain association? Do you kind of connect with other authors? What does that look like for you?
So I'm really lucky that I've got a amazing group of women who are all authors, who live fairly local to me, and we meet up once every 6 weeks or
Yeah.
so, um, just for a coffee and a chat. We did a little writing retreat together a few months ago, and that's the first time we actually sit and wrote together. But and they are so different. We all write rom-commy, like women's
Yeah.
fiction type books, but they're all very different in terms of like some are indie, some are traditional, different stages of their careers, different
Yeah.
parts of the world where their books are more successful, different types of books. So their experience and perceptions are so valid and um, inspiring to me, and they're also just so nice. So I have them, and then I also, before having my daughter, because obviously it's more difficult now, but I would almost every year go on the Right Southwest Scotland retreat, which
Yeah.
is run by Anstey Harris, who,
Yes.
yeah, he's a friend of mine, a great author and just a great person. And going up there is actually, I went with Sophie Cousins once. She came
Ah,
on,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a group of writers who will be from all walks of life, all different stages in their writing career. Um, and you just spend a week together doing, Anstey is not only is she a great author, she's also a really qualified and experienced writing tutor. So she leads workshops and then also like takes you out into Dumfries, which is where it is. And you get to experience nature. She cooks amazing food. It's just really inspiring. And I always leave feeling really full. Um, and then I also I've met quite a lot of authors through social media who
Yeah.
um, I speak to sort of as and when I can.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's such an important part of being an author, because when I started, I knew absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
And so it can be really, you just need someone just to be like, is this normal? Or
Yeah.
I remember when I was struggling with my second book and freaking out, I spoke to an author friend of mine of just saying, is this normal? Like, have I lost it? And it was so reassuring, just had to be like, no, you just got writer's block. And
Yeah.
this is what happened when I had it. And this is, what happened after. And
Yeah.
etc. So yeah, no, I'm really lucky. So yeah, that's kind of um my main support network in terms of
Yeah.
other writers.
Amazing. And what advice would you give your younger self if you were to start out again? Is there a piece of advice that you'd give yourself different to what you've done?
Um Probably different to what I've done. Or probably don't give up, but
Yeah.
which I that isn't really different from what I've done, but yeah, don't give up, because I
Yeah.
felt so lost for a lot of it that it just wouldn't happen for me. Um And there's this is going to sound quite cheesy, but there's a quote by Dolly Parton which I love, which is find out who you are and then do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Um, and I just try and remind myself of that every now and again, and I had it in abundance when I first started writing, because I think that because I hadn't had any reviews or anything, I
Mm.
was kind of, and not much feedback from people. I didn't really have much. Uh, I wasn't feeling that self conscious about that side of writing, but I think that the thing that makes you the most special as an author is that you could give five authors exactly the same synopsis and say, go and write this book, and they would give you
Mm.
five completely different books. And I just think that that's what makes authors so special and interesting, not just authors, like any form of creative person.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think it would just be a don't lose that part of it, because
Yeah.
when I was doing my second book, and the list that changed my life is completely fiction, but it is like, every joke in there is a joke that I think I found funny, and a lot of feelings in there are feelings that I have felt
Mhm.
at different points. I haven't been through what my characters have been through, but of like comparison in different
Yeah.
situations. And then when it came to Accidental Love Letter, because I was getting all these reviews for lists that changed my life, and I make it sound like I've got loads of really bad ones. I didn't at all, but just getting different people's opinions.
Yeah.
And I got the odd one where it would say, "Oh God, the main character's so annoying," and so then I thought, "Oh, I need to try and make the second character, my Accidental Love Letter character, less annoying. So I need to try and make her less like, need to try and make her more like how other
Yeah.
authors write female characters." Um, and it didn't end up being that way by the time it was published. But earlier on in that book, I made life so much harder for myself, because I was fighting my instincts. And instead of going, I
Yeah.
think she should say this, I was going, oh no, hang on. Is that annoying though? Because I want to make sure that I'm not annoying this time, even though it was only 1% of people who found it
Yes.
annoying.
Yeah.
So yeah, and now I don't really care. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like, if people find some of my characters annoying, yeah, they're meant to be real people, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are annoying, so that's fine. Um, and yeah, so just kind of lean into into your experiences and who you are,
Yeah.
because that's how you'll write the best story that people will connect with. Um,
Yeah.
and it's your, like, with again, that may sound really cheesy, but like it's your superpower. Nobody else can replicate that. Only you can write
Yeah.
your book. So don't try
Yeah.
and write anybody else. Write it as you.
I love that. Yeah. That's like your differentiation compared to other authors out there. And
Yeah.
that's, yeah. No, you don't, no one wants to read the same book twice. Like, so, that's the whole reason why there's so many different authors out there. Even though they might be similar, like that's why you have the certain genres, right? But yeah, you have your own spin. So I love that advice as well. I think that's great advice. And stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Um, So where can people find you? I know you said you're kind of on social media, but where's the best place for people to kind of connect with you or to go and, buy one of your books?
So it would be Instagram. I flipped in and off of it because I seem to be unable to go on it without falling into the reels section and then
Yes.
losing out of my life. But yeah, I'm Olivia Beirne on Instagram or Emily Maple Writes. They're both me, so I'm behind both of them. Um, and then my books are available everywhere, really, online in particular. The easiest place to get them is places like Amazon,
Yeah.
Waterstone, um, or like I'm sure if you ask an independent bookshop, they'd be able to get it in for you as well, especially Falling for You because that one only recently came
Yeah.
out. Um, but yeah, Instagram, I might take a while to reply to you, but I will always reply.
Yeah, and you've got a little link. So like if you go to your Olivia page, it will take you, you've got a little thing you can click onto the Emily one as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people didn't realize I was the same person. So I had to try and be really clear of being like, it is me. I've got the same face.
Yeah. Well, they'll get to know. Hopefully, you'll be out. I'm really looking forward to kind of, yeah, you writing in both, like in the different genres and continuing your career doing that. And you never know, you might have a third one. You might have a different idea of writing in a completely different genre, different
Yeah.
genre.
Do you know what? Some of my friends joke with me of being like, I can't believe you got two names. And I'm like, well, I'm also not married yet and I'm engaged. So I was like, so I'm going to have another name. And then I might also write a book on another genre. I was like, I might have five names at some point. Like,
Yeah,
just deal with
you could just be a
it.
spy. Maybe you're a spy, and
You like, so too. When people ask why I've got two names, be like, it's because I'm on the run. I'm like,
yeah.
no.
So when they start finding, like, your husband finds passports as well, and then he's like,
No.
oh, actually,
Yeah. It's just because I'm a rom-com author, I promise.
yeah. Oh, well, I've absolutely loved having you on the podcast. So thank you so
Thank you.
much for joining. And I will speak to you very, very soon, Olivia. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been my first ever podcast. So thank you for making it so nice.
Oh, you are welcome. Thanks, Olivia.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.